Chapter 3, Champion Change. We run a patient satisfaction questionnaire every couple years for a day to fill the square. Midwest Clinic. We don't want any feedback, we're plenty busy as is. Southeast Clinic. The survey uses the term leader. This will create confusion around here. Hospital CEO. What really matters in your life? Family, spirituality, health, work, wealth? We've already talked about perspective. The question is, what is worthy of change? What is your vision so you can come up with a strategy and then execute effectively? What, how, and when? I've asked more than 100,000 people to share what they think the top priorities in their lives should be. It is typical to hear them name the same priorities many nationwide polls have found to be most common: family, spirituality, and health. Sometimes a younger audience will suggest work and wealth should be at the top, and I can relate to that. When I was in my 20s, I had spreadsheets predicting when I'd hit a net worth of $1 million. And I was so driven I worked 7 days every week. Now that we're in our 50s, have faced our first significant medical event with Cindy's stage 4 cancer, and have an empty nest, we think differently. Family's now without a doubt at the top of the list. Our relationship and the realization that our time together is finite have now been confirmed. We need to continue to work, but it is with a different perspective. Our client success is important to us. The financial results of our work are important for the sake of our team and our future stability, but aren't the reason we live. We're attempting to work to live instead of living to work. I just finished a trip where I traveled the majority of every week for 10 weeks. Although it was challenging in terms of my personal balance, I found the trip validated the need to focus on team. For many years, I've been explaining the value of including the team in running an effective organization. Top-down management styles are good only for short term. If you want to see your organization move to the next level of performance and productivity, you need to take advantage of the power of the other minds around you. Move away from your being the only one that knows everything, and build emotional ownership within the team. These days I've been saying, you simply need to be the smart student in the slow learners class. Most organizational leaders I've spent time coaching, and they now number in the thousands, are nice enough folks. However, 4 out of 5 of them have no idea how ineffective they can be. In other words, nearly everyone does a horrible job in their primary role as an administrator, leader, or manager. They're usually baby boomers who grew up under the tutelage of some top-down micromanaging boss. They saw them succeed and retire with a nice accumulation of wealth, so they assume that model is still valid. Guess what? It only works short-term. In the past, a leader was a boss. Today's leaders must be partners with their people. They no longer can lead solely based on positional power. Ken Blanchard. Your legacy. Here's the biggest opportunity. Stephen Covey does a fine job of setting perspective with what he calls a eulogy exercise. In my variant of that process, I ask people to compose the eulogy that would be read if they were to die today. When they've finished, I ask them if they are satisfied. They've contributed as they'd like, if their actions have been laudable. Nearly everyone agrees that they aren't living a principle/goals-driven life. I then ask them to imagine their 101st birthday party. Someone will say a few words about their first 101 years. I ask them, what would you like him or her to say? The interactions usually produce things that relate to, you guessed it, the same priorities I mentioned earlier: family, spirituality, and health. They go on to comment about contributions to society, raising children who also contribute, doing the right things no matter who is looking. You've heard these platitudes before and haven't paid much attention. The great news is that there is still time. We don't know how much time there is, but as long as you're still hearing this message, there's hope. Has the concrete set? Is it Peter or Paul? You've heard about the Peter Principle. The definition is the theory that employees within an organization will advance to their highest level of competence and then be promoted to and remain at a level at which they are incompetent. But how about the Paul Principle? I can't even remember where I heard this explanation. When someone finally reaches a position of influence, they're so close to retirement and so burned out that they don't want to rock the boat, and therefore they become ineffective. In fact, I know of organizations where the principal said, "We don't want the feedback. I won't initiate change because I'm close to retirement and I don't want to make waves." Are you smart enough to recognize what a difference letting go can make? Some of us are born with DNA that drives us to stay in control, to not let go, to not empower, and therefore to not find success at the levels we should. It is typical that we climb the ladder to a position of significant influence without having worked out all the details along the way. Because we've done it all before, we tend to want to do it all ourselves. Is it okay for someone to make a mistake? The answer is a resounding yes, so long as they learn from the mistake and grow. Is it okay to make the same mistake again? Probably not. If you wish to know what a man is, place him in authority. Yugoslav proverb. Will you unleash the power within your team or embrace mediocrity? The decision is yours. Will you maintain the status quo and secure your seat in the slow learners class? Will you continue to utilize your brain alone when you're surrounded by others who could help? Do you think your team members enjoy working on a team in which their talents are not utilized? Of course not. So if you want to see real growth and significant increases in productivity, retention, and employee satisfaction, push authority and responsibility down as far as you can and then a little further. Champion your clients. Champion. To act as a champion of, defend, support, to champion a cause. Your clients are the reason for everything you do. Are you doing all you can to make doing business with you a rewarding experience for them? Are you willing to reinvent your business model if that's what it takes to improve the service your customers receive? Can you take some risk, listen to input from your team, and understand that there may be mistakes at first? You need to solicit feedback from your customers and share the results with your team, and you need to be prepared to act on what they tell you. The things you learn from them are the things you will need to know to achieve real improvement. Champion your team. Why would your team care for your business if you don't seem to care about them? Think about it. Would you put out your absolute best work for someone who looks down on you? Be honest with yourself. Under ideal conditions, a worker would always do his or her best because of personal pride. You may not realize it, but you need to understand that you work for them. Do your associates feel any emotional investment in your organization? Do they feel proud to be working where they are? The current economic climate may be obscuring the fact that many businesses are full of people who appear to be loyal but are simply waiting to make their moves. Is this really only because it's hard to hire good help? Summing up what I've tried to impart in this chapter, I see two themes: consistency and balance. The people you deal with, both inside and outside your organization, have a right to expect that your relationship with them will stay on an even keel. The balance equation means keeping the human aspects of a relationship in mind when business decisions are being made. What will be the negative impact of what I'm about to do, and how can I mitigate against long-term harm? Running a large organization successfully was once described by a senior leader as being the equivalent of balancing a battleship on the head of a pin. Consistency and balance will help you keep the battleship where you want it.